I was living in Tallahassee, Florida, and I was probably about 23, and I got this phone call. It was from the hospital in Tallahassee. I was in grad school. In fact, I was getting ready to graduate December. This was 1999, so I'm getting ready to graduate December. This is September. So I run in there, I'm like, oh my God, please, somebody take me to the hospital. So they're rushing me to the hospital, and I could barely walk. Like, literally, there were days leading up to this, I would get in the shower, and the steam from the shower, I would pass out. So once I realized that happened, I would have to keep the door open, the shower curtain open, and always make sure somebody was at my house, because nobody wants to take a shower. You pass out, knock your head, and then you're out, and nobody knows that, and maybe you drown. I don't know, it's too much, right? Like, I don't want to give that visual, but, you know. So we get to the hospital, and I had to have an emergency D&C. You guys know what that is, right, some of you? I had to have an emergency D&C. So I was hemorrhaging. I was pregnant. And I lost my baby. I was hemorrhaging to death. I was in a lot of pain. Like, ladies, you have cramps. Well, we have cramps, right? This, oh my God. I can't even explain to you how I would bawl over on the ground just to try to contain the pain a little bit, right? So I get to the hospital, I'm fully awake, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't know what's going on. And they say, well, because your blood, you don't have any, barely, we can't give you anesthesia. So we're gonna have to do this. Put your big girl panties on, basically. Or take them off, really. And so they do this D&C, and I feel everything. Everything. I'm crying, I'm hollering, I'm screaming. My boyfriend at the time, he's right there. I mean, I'm just like hysterical, right? Calm down, relax, 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 relax. And it was almost like my life flashed before my eyes. I felt like I was dying. And I did not want to tell my mom for a couple reasons. My mom was very, very particular about not bringing kids in the world until you can take care of them. So she had instilled the fear of God in me already. No, but I wasn't like 12, I was 23. I was graduating from grad school. It wasn't the end of the world, but so I didn't want to call her and tell her that, A, I was pregnant, because technically I wasn't, but then I had to tell her why I wasn't. So I called my dad. One of my parents had to know that I'm like in the emergency room with this, tragic thing happening. The doctor says, listen, you got to call somebody, call one of your parents or something. So I called my dad. So I come out of the surgery, I'm in ICU, I call my dad, I tell him what's going on, and he goes, are you safe? Are you good? I say, yes. He goes, well, listen, don't ever be afraid to call and tell us what's going on, right? So what happened was that for me was a turning point. Have any of you ever had a turning point? And many times people ask me, how do you stay motivated? What keeps you going? Even in the midst of like people running amok and nonsense and chaos and what feels like destruction. And I say, I almost died. Almost died. And I say, God, please, if you let me live, I promise I will not squander my life. I promise I will not squander my life. I promise I will not squander my life. Say, I promise I will not squander my life. So for me, sometimes when things aren't going the way I want them to go, like, damn, Trace, you almost died. Like, really? It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Somebody did not go all in. Just chill out, girl. And some of you guys get so wrapped up emotionally in the things that other people are doing or are not doing, don't you? Sometimes we lose sight of what's important, what's most important. Now, you guys have never really heard me tell that story. I usually skip over that part. It's in between the, hey, I went to college, I graduated with a master's degree in business, right? I got a job, I moved to Atlanta, and I was laid off. You guys know that part, most of you, yes? But I skip over that part. So I was talking to Dave last night. We were up to like 3 in the morning. So if my eyes are bloodshot red, that's why. I don't drink or smoke. But we were talking about some things, and I said, you know, let me think about what I want to talk about. I don't usually always know. I'm kind of like that too. I just kind of let the Spirit guide me in that way. They asked me that I want a whiteboard. I said, well, yeah, because I'm not really sure. I said, it's like my blankie, like Linus. Right? Just give me a whiteboard, I feel better. Because you never know what's going to happen. And if I have the urge to teach something and write it down, I want to be able to capture it. But I thought, I said, you know, what could I share that could be of, in my opinion, greatest impact for you that has taken place in my life that caused a turning point, that caused a, you know, mama don't play attitude. What causes that? What caused that for me? I was done playing around is what caused it for me. I realized my life could be taken like that. And I just decided I'm not putting up with the bull. I'm just not. I'm not putting up with the bull from a job, a person, a relationship, you know, forces of evil, any of it. I'm not going to do it. Because if I do it, how is that serving me to do that? Is it? It's usually a hang-up of some sort. So I don't deal with it. So that's what happened to me. So people say, oh my goodness, Tracy, you just, you know, you have so much energy and you just this and this and this and this. And I'm like, yeah, that's what happens when you almost die. And then you don't. And you have another chance. So each morning when I wake up, I can't say I think of that. See, I used to be able to, there was a point where I would not tell the story, and then if I did share the story with a select group of people, I was still emotional about the story, right? Like tears are coming down, I could barely even tell the story because I could go back and I could relive all of it. But now I can tell the story and have like a detachment a little bit from it, that was an old me. That was an old me. When I look at my son now, I just feel so grateful and so blessed because they told me that if I had have waited another 24 hours, two things. A, I would have been dead because I had Dr. Steve, right? What does a hemoglobin of 5 really mean? No oxygen. I'd have a blood transfusion. I'd have a blood transfusion. I had no blood in my body. Do you guys understand what that means? So when I look at my son, I'm very grateful because it was either the die situation or hysterectomy. Or hysterectomy. And I'm thinking, man, I'm going to lose the opportunity or the chance to even be a mom? Dang. So when I see my little happy face running around, I'm just like, man, it's amazing. It's amazing that there's no scar tissue. It's amazing how God can heal something that was once so broken, right? whether it's physically broken or emotionally broken or spiritually broken or even financially broken, it can be fixed. And there's joy in knowing that, isn't it? There's joy in knowing that. You hear stories this whole weekend about miracles and things taking place. For me, that was a miracle. My son being born was a miracle. I had no complications in my pregnancy. I had no issues. Everything was as if that D&C never even took place. Right? I spoke on stage when I was pregnant. I crossed $1 million ring when I was pregnant. Right? We drove down on a big tour bus when I was pregnant. We did everything. Josiah subconsciously knows all that. He knows all that, right? So the gift of life. So I wanted to share that with you. Just to let you know I'm a lot like everybody else. No different. You know, Will Smith has a quote that I saw, either it was on Facebook or Instagram. It was one of those memes. And it says, you know, I am just a regular guy that is obsessed with persistence and consistency. Regular guy. And that rang so true to me. Like, I'm just a regular person. You know, when we hang out with the leaders, the leadership council, I mean, we're just having fun. We're hanging out. You know, it's not, nobody's talking about, I don't know what you guys think we're talking about. We're not talking about secrets, really, except for Alex's secret. You want to know what Alex and Anna are doing? They obviously have a secret. Silvio, there's a secret there. So we might kind of throw that in, but then we're done. And then we just hope they get drunk and then tell us the secret. And because I don't drink or smoke, I'm always waiting. But that's not what we're doing, right? We're just regular people. We're just vibing. We're just hanging out. We enjoy being with each other. I love coming to the events. I want you to love coming to the events. I want you to make friends, to build relationships, to build bonds with people, because I am telling you, you never know. I did not know that in June 2012, when we were at our first event in Atlanta, Georgia, that when I first met Dee Varengia and I first met Justin Varengia, I had no idea, right? Who knew the power that lied so deep within both of them? Who knew that a couple years later, Dave would save Justin's life in this turn of event where Justin did what? Almost died. Right? Now, I'm not saying find something to almost die. I'm just saying if you do and you make it, it's like something you could use to propel yourself. I know it sounds weird. You know, we say stuff that sounds weird, but it's all about perspective, right? It's all about perspective, and not everybody can understand what we're saying, how we're saying it, what it's meant to say. And so therefore, we're weird, we're unique, and we only can communicate with us, right? Guys, there's only a few people that I can really talk to about things that I like to talk about, right? I don't gossip on the phone with my girls that often. It's not my deal. I don't go out and kick it and party too much. I mean, even before I had the baby, I really didn't do that. I would try to, because I'm like, stop being a freaking hermit. Like, go get a life, right? But I'm like, I don't do that. I like to work. That's what I like to do. So when you look at results that people have or don't have, there's usually some sort of work ethic behind everything that you don't see. See, I was a kid in high school. In fact, my best friends to this day, we've been all friends since high school, since I was 13. Two of them are doctors. One has her own business. I have my own business. Now, I got one friend who's still working, and every month she's like, okay, girl, I'm going to get with you about this Empower Network. We all got that one, right? I've known her since we were in the 5th grade. We call her the social director of our group, because anything going on, party, kicking it, she know. We ask her, what's going on? April, what's up? We're on a text thread. I'm keeping track of who's partying, who's homecoming, and what's going on. And, sometimes I'm interested, sometimes I'm not. I'm like, well, even if I do go, I'm hurrying up to get home so I can go back and work. So the point is, this group of girls that I have, we were all top 10 in high school. We were on a pom-pom team. We were on the volleyball team. I was on a swim team as well. And I danced. So I was very, very busy and active and, preoccupied with positive things. And what people did not know about us is that we were really nerds. We were like the cool nerds. And we would hang out at the games, the football games, basketball games, do whatever. We would go out to the little parties and things. But when we got home, we got in our books. Everybody else is sleepy and tired and laying it down, and we're not. And when I think back, I say, I'm just like that now. We leave out of this room at 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I go to my room and I don't do the things that most people are doing. I'm not sleeping. I'm not worried about eating too much. I'm not standing in line complaining about how long the line is. I'm not making all these excuses as to why I can't do what I needed to do today because I need to wait till tomorrow, my computer, my cord. Kevin, by the way, I got your text about the cord or your Facebook. Guys, look, when you almost lose your life, all that shit it's malarkey. I was trying to think of a word that's a funny word. Right? It's my old volleyball coach used to say, look, cut it out with the yaki doc. Right? You get up there, when you run your drills, you jump like you would jump in the game. Don't pretend jump in practice and then think you're going to be able to jump for real in the game. Muscle memory. And some of you guys are like pretend jumping. I'm not pretend jumping. I'm jumping as high as I can jump every single time, full out. Every single time, full out. Any guys played sports? You know what I'm talking about? Did your coaches tell you that? Like run full speed. Run full speed. If you're running a basketball drill and you're running back and forth or you're doing suicides or whatever, it's run full speed. It's don't yaki dock around with the drill. Don't yaki dock around in your business. The only person that suffers, well, not the only person, but the initial person that suffers is you, and then the other people that suffer are those that depend on you. And it's absolutely selfish, unfair,